My name is Timo Maas. I'm sitting in lovely Miami. I'm gonna kick your ass.
If we gon' do it, let's do it together. We can make this night live on forever. If you feel free and you're down for whatever, put your hands up, put your hands up.
I'm 41 now, and I started buying my first records with the age of 7 or 8, and I started DJing with the age of 13. That's like over 28 years now. So music is my life. I just do this my whole life already. I never liked it when people, you know, put me in any kind of category, and I hope the mix shows at least a little bit that I'm musically completely open-minded. For me, like, the quality of the music and the trip of the mix is more important than, you know, plugging big hits or anything like that. I'm well prepared that I have enough music with me, but I never prepare a DJ set in advance because I never know the venue, or barely know the venue. And also every night in every venue can be completely differently. So I always decide what I play when I arrive in the venue, see what kind of people are there, see or hear what the warm-up DJ is doing, etc., etc.
All right.
At a certain point, it was already like in the late 80s or so when I did like the first things like you know, remixing, but then with a tape recorder,
Yeah.
and then like cutting the tape there, sticking it back together, and, you know, doing like the first kind of master mixes. That was in the 80s. And like the first like tries on Atari, etc., etc. And then like 94 or so, I had my first release. Mainly, I mean, I was always a DJ. I'm not a producer who was getting famous due to 1 or 2 big hits and then starts DJing. I was always a DJ, and at a certain point, I just wanted to have my own vinyl in my hand. That was the main target when I was starting producing. Like I mean, I come from the times when the, you know, DJs were just like, you know, getting recognized as DJs, but they were not the cool guys, you know, like 30 years back or so. It was like a completely different thing. Traveling DJs was, nobody knew that, and you know, that you pay like money for somebody who's coming in from New York to play a DJ set in Frankfurt. It was just not existing, the whole thing. I mean, like, loving the music the whole time, loving this kind of life. You know, I never had a proper weekend. You know, even though I have off weekends and I would go out to a club, I always see it from the perspective of a DJ. So my whole life, I never had like a proper like weekend off with not thinking about like eventually like entertaining people or anything like that. You know, some things you give up, but on the other hand, it's inspiration for everything I do. My CD wallet and my headphones, basically. I was even playing vinyl until last year, and because I just love the sound of it, and you know, it also has something to do with my ethic of DJing, you know, which I just told you, which I grew up with. And I'm not a big fan of laptop DJing because, you know, what I see, you know, it's like all of the guys are just looking on the screens and not looking for the people anymore. And for me, it's not important to show my, you know, technical skills in front of everybody. For me, always the most important thing in the DJ set is the music and nothing else. The music matters, and the selection of music matters, and how you bring the things together to create like a certain trip. I'm not just playing like one track after the other. I try to create something that you later on can recognize as like a full work, as a trip, as something that took you out for a few hours of the real life. It's always different, you know. Sometimes, you know, there is an idea of a certain vibe, there is an idea of a loop, a sample. I'm doing, from time to time, I'm doing sessions with like real musicians, like guitar players, bass players, keyboard players, etc., drummers, and so on and so on. And you know, out of these sessions come ideas, and I just had a really, really good session with a guitar player 2 weeks ago, and just out of this session we wrote, I think, 4 songs or something like that, out of a session of a few hours. And it always depends. Sometimes I'm sitting with Santos and we're listening just to loops and just, you know, play some crazy sounds on the synths, and the ideas come from that. They called me and I did it. Now it was just especially with Madonna, it was like, this was like in the whole remix thing, there was like the peak up of like a real big wave, you know, hitting me in like about 2000, 2001, 2002, when like whatever I touched together with Martin Buttrich, my old producer, whatever we produced, wherever we touched, you know, was like getting like really successful. possibly we filled a hole that was like you know, with the music that wasn't there at the time. And you know, and everybody wants a little piece of that. And you know, Madonna's agents came to ask us, like Jamiroquai, like Garbage, like for the last album, for Pictures, actually the first song we wrote, and like a more like a ballad, like a downbeat thing, like really beautiful. We used some samples from a French author, from French writer, but he was like over 80 already when we asked to clear the samples. And he was not agreeing to it, so the first song of Pictures was never getting released, and you know, actually we never had the chance to clear it. I think he died now, but it's like still in his testament, his music will never be used for anybody. It's a question I was also getting like 15 years ago. It's like nobody knows, you know. It's like something that doesn't seem important right now can be the music style for the future. Maybe it's got to be West Coast Polka or something like that. Who knows? I don't care. I just love music. I love the experiment. I love to produce, also like produce things that sound strange to me. And I'm a music lover, and I try to create something also that is different to like the usual things you hear. And this is what I'm doing. Maybe something comes out as the new thing, maybe not, but you know, it's about the music. It's about like the love to it, making it. I discovered Kraftwerk a little later than everybody else possibly. For me, more important was like Pink Floyd and Jean-Michel Jarre from France. Like as I think the first guy who brought like synthesizer music like to a completely new level. And that was mainly the music I was listening to. Pink Floyd and Jean-Michel Jarre and everything like surrounded by that. Alan Parsons Project and so on and so on. When the Italo disco stuff came up in the early 80s or so, there was, of course, music that was working like really well in clubs. It was produced for clubs. It was different, not like essentially produced for being successful in the charts. It was more for the club, for the entertainment. Italo disco also brought, especially in Europe, like the format 12-inch, to new like rise, completely different thing after that. And yeah, I have a lot of Italo disco records actually. We had no internet, so of course the music from the own country and the States has a lot of music with a lot of musicians here. Always matters more than the music, or mattered more back in the days than the music that was coming from a different country. In Germany also there was, like in the 70s, 80s, there was a lot of like German music in the charts, and only with MTV and with the possibility of listening to music from all over the world, you know, also like artists from other countries were getting a lot more successful than they've been before in Germany. Well, he was the first guy to understand that there's something going on with Timo Maas. It was actually, I know exactly, it was the 11th of August 1999 when Paul Oakenfold called my former management and said, you know, I want to sign Timo up for Perfecto. I think he's the next big thing. And it was 1 year before everybody else was like jumping on the train, but Oki was one of the first ones. And he even brought like pure club tracks like Deshiva into like the top 40 in the UK, which I really like. You know, I just finished a sample CD for producers for Loop Masters, which is going to be out I think in January or early February. And I'm working on my new artist album right now, like the follow-up to Pictures. My last one was in 2005, so it's about time. That's due to release hopefully in summer 2011. I'm in the process right now, not right now because I'm in lovely Miami and the sun is just burning me, it's amazing. And yeah, loads of new stuff for the label, Rockets and Ponies, it's new Mutant Clan stuff is coming up, and so on and so on. It's a lot of stuff.